All right, folks. In this lesson, in this video, we will be preparing this model, which we have created over the course of the previous several videos. We will be preparing it for 3D printing. I've spent just a few minutes with it, tweaking, tweaking a few things, adding veins, couple more wrinkles. I'm not going to focus on that right now. Maybe I will record a video explaining how different methods how you can make veins. Nothing, and I'm not terribly great at making veins. Anyway, we will be printing this thing on a UV printer. Again, I'm not going to focus too much here on theory, on how different printers works, etc., etc. But in a nutshell, UV printer, it creates a model by submerging a platform into a bath of UV sensitive resin, which is then solidified layer by layer using UV lights. And when you are creating a model for 3D printing, of course, you have to be mindful about what type of printer you will be printing it with. And you also have to go through a number of steps. Let me show the floor here. Yeah. I've been making this model at an odd angle. You have to be mindful of certain steps you have to take in order for the model to print correctly and in order for you not to waste too much material, especially with UV printers. It's very important because UV resin is kind of expensive. So, and you have to think about the size. I have a ruler next to me, so I will be, as I will be preparing this model for printing, I will be also thinking about how this model, what size I should have this model printed in. Because the printer we have at our studio is not super large. But it is very capable. It is capable of creating very, very complex things, especially if you invest time later on into painting them, which we will do with this model. And on this channel, I just have to, a brief disclaimer, we will be sculpting things and we will be printing and painting them from time to time. And you will be able to download the file each time, I think. Yeah. So a ton of benefit. Anyway, since this model is sort of elongated, it makes sense to first of all, I will save it as just a separate file just for printing, so I don't mess up the original model. This video is probably not going to be as long as some other videos where we did the actual sculpting, because that takes time. That took 3 hours with this model. So I have saved this thing, right? And I will now, I will merge visible in ZBrush, merge visible, and that operation creates another subtool. If you are unfamiliar with the basics of ZBrush, I have videos on this channel just outlining those. So now that it is merged, and I needed to merge it because I had fingernails as separate subtools. Now it is all one object. I will just, I can now turn this hand in space. The fingernails didn't move. Why? Were they masked? Yeah, I guess they were masked. Now I have unmasked them and I'm turning it in space to position this hand mostly vertically, right? Like this. And I'm assuming the printing, the supporting platform of the 3D printer will be like below here. That's why I have turned on the floor. And it will be printed somehow, something like this, in this fashion, right? But, there is an important but. I have to, I feel I need to create a stand for this model first. So bear with me. I will append a cylinder. Just a simple cylinder. Like this one, right? Just will drag it to the side. Increase it in size slightly. Like this. I will divide it a few times. I will scale it vertically. Maybe increase the size a little because I want this hand just to be able to put it on a table so that it can stand and hold its balance. And for that maybe I will, by the way, rotate it slightly like this so it's easier to balance, like the line of action is going right across this thing. And that, like here, can be a stand. It's cutting off part of the model, but that is okay because the model, the lower part is not very important and it doesn't look very refined anyway. So something like that. We'll have a thing, a hand printed like this, right? But that is not all, because I want to separate them in such a way that, and I will make the stand slightly narrower because otherwise it will take a lot of material and I wouldn't want that. So it should look something like that, but I now have to collapse this hand, which has nails as separate subtools. And check this out, I'm doing all of this as I go without any preparation because I don't want these videos to be overproduced and I don't want them to take too long to edit. I just want to pump them out quickly, and I hope, and just it doesn't diminish the value of the video just because it is done in such spontaneous way. I think it is even better. I'm a little tired of all those overproduced, where's Dynamesh? Here's Dynamesh videos on YouTube right now. So let's test it at default value. It's a little too low, 128. Dynamesh is scale dependent, and the only way to test it out is to just try it. So let's try 256. I need it to be dense enough to preserve most of the detail. Okay, and I think it is good enough. It's 1.3 million polygons, which is just peanuts by today's standards. Used to be a lot, like 10-15 years ago. You could have the whole model in under 2 million polygons right now, and it would work, like the computer would lag slightly. Right now it is not a problem at all. And my computer is not new, it's pretty old, but the video card is newer. The processor is Core i5. It's like 8 or 9 years old. Pretty old. Anyway, so the hand itself is now collapsed into a single piece of geometry. And I will just move this platform ever so slightly. And what do I need to do now? Well, a couple of things. First of all, I want to create a shell for the platform first. Because if you look at the model like this, right? If you print it even, I have my ruler here. For instance, let's say I want it to be like, I don't know. I need resin for a different project. That's why I don't want to waste it just on printing random models. But let's say it is 13 centimeters high. It's pretty high actually. And my printer, it can handle larger models. It all depends on the size of the platform you have. Anyway, 13 centimeters. well, it is a ton of material. It's yeah, it is a substantial amount of material, which you don't want to waste. That's why when you are preparing models for 3D printing, you are making them hollow. I'll just save another copy. Hollow inside. And a ZBrush, in ZBrush, this operation is called shell, right? And I start with this one. And it does what it sounds. It creates a shell based on the model of, that you're working with. And to do that, first of all, let's make sure we don't have subdivision levels here, which we do. We delete lower subdivisions. And this time we will create another cylinder, because we need to create an opening, a hole at the bottom of the model, right? And for that reason, it's a common practice to make a hole round. So we need a cylinder. If you don't completely understand what I'm doing right now, just bear with me. You'll understand as I go. Not this. I need an insert brush with a cylinder, like this. Here's the cylinder, and I'll just insert it at the bottom, like this. And I will scale it slightly, or maybe not. It's opening, it's not that big. If I will have an opening like this in the middle of the model, it will be okay, I think. And I will have to do a similar thing for the hand. And this model is quite simple because it's just two elements. It's the stand and the hand. We have, I'll probably edit in an example. We have models which consist of like a dozen elements or more. And you break models into separate pieces partially to save material and to make it easier. And because model which consists of different elements, it just looks better. Some models are hard to print as a whole piece, and another reason is easier to color. Anyway, something I need to see how deep it goes, something like this. And now it's roughly in the center. I don't have to be super precise. And now I go into geometry, and it is a rather complicated operation. And it's a Dynamesh operation, basically. As you can see here, Dynamesh, a big fat button, and then there is Create Shell, a smaller button at the bottom. 256 works fine, as we just discovered for this model. So I haven't done it in a while. I think I also need to make sure that this the cylinder here I don't know why it doesn't have the upper side. Okay, I needed to have, or maybe I don't. Let's try it without it, with a hole in the cylinder. You can see how unprepared and unrehearsed these videos are. But anyway, I'll need it to group as Dynamesh sub, because I will be subtracting this model from the stand. And again, I go to geometry, and let's just decrease the resolution just to see if it works properly. Let me press Create Shell, and it will take time to calculate. And this operation well, it didn't commence for some reason. Why it didn't commence? Why it didn't commence? Let me try it again. maybe I need the Dynamesh turned on. Probably. But if I just press Dynamesh right now, it will combine these two models. And in order to avoid this, I need to preserve poly groups. Just press this button. I will go back to 256. Do Dynamesh, just as you would normally do. And it subtracted it. And I don't want it to be subtracted, so auto groups, you have to be very, very well, very familiar with ZBrush, its interface and its workings to so quickly solve issues as they come, and it is a little hard to explain as we go, but I will be recording videos like this, again, Dynamesh, from time to time, and if you will continue watching them, I think you will familiarize yourself with the process. Groups, the button got unpressed. Dynamesh again. Yeah. Now the Dynamesh is on. This one will be grouped as Dynamesh sub. I will turn off the floor for now, so it is not in the way. Go down to 128 to test things out and create shell. And it went and created our shell pretty quickly. I guess in the newer versions of ZBrush it works quicker. Or maybe it's just that the geometry is not very dense here, right? Anyway, it worked and it created a cavity, as you can see, inside the model. And there is a parameter of thickness, which is at 4 right now, which determines how thick this whole thing is. Let me undo this. I will increase the thickness. I'll put it to 7, let's say. Just want to the walls of the shell to be a little thicker. This to 256 and create shell again. It will be a little longer because the density, the resolution of Dynamesh is higher, and the higher you go, the longer it takes to calculate, because it not only has to calculate the surface of the model, but the inner surface of the model. Here we go. Here we are. And there are, as you can see, it looks like a bat symbol, doesn't it? As you can see, inside, the surface is sort of, this has this discrete lines. It's so wobbly or something like that. And that's because it is an approximation inside, but it doesn't matter because it is inside, right? Outside, it is fine. It's just fine. So we created a shell for the stand. Now let's bring the hand and let's think how we will connect. How we will connect this hand to the stand. One way is to glue this once it is printed, and those things will be printed as two separate objects. Once we have created those objects with 3D printing, we can glue them together. That would be one way. And it can work here simply because there is such a large surface area of the cross section where the hand touches the stand, right? But there is a better way, and that involves creating something like a teeth, which extend from the hand and penetrate the stand. Well, one such tooth would be enough. And that way it's like Legos. They just stick together. You can apply glue as well, but they will hold together very, very, very well. Let me I want to create a copy of this stand. Just duplicate. And it creates a copy without the history. Each object by default, all the operations you make on it, there is a history, line of history, like right here above the canvas in ZBrush, and the copy doesn't have that. And that is okay, because I want to undo everything I did here to this thing. Why? Because I need just the cylinder itself. I'll hide the copy. The copy it has everything that we have done so far. It has the cavity, the shell, etc. But the copy is just the cylinder, and I want to use this cylinder and subtract it from the hand in such a way that it cuts the hand here, because the hand itself, it extends below the stand, and I want just to get rid of all of this in a very precise manner, so that when we have the two objects printed and we put them together, they match exactly. For that reason, what I am going to do here is I'm going to combine this object, merge down, and I will save again. Each time you do an undoable, not undo, the operation, damn it, which you cannot undo inside ZBrush, it's best to save your file as a new copy. I'm drinking tea with lemon right now because I already had coffee today. Anyway, I'm going to merge down this thing. Partially hidden. What's partially hidden? Are you partially hidden? Oh, you are hiding the stand. I failed to undo this operation. This thing is hiding the cylinder. Let's just delete hidden. Again, merge down. Like so. And now it is a single subtool, right? And we will group this one as Dynamesh sub. And I will now apply Dynamesh, and I will just bump up the resolution just ever so slightly to make sure I don't lose the wrinkles here, because it's like, you know, making a copy of a videotape or something like that. With each Dynamesh, you might lose some of the detail. So I'll apply mask in the open area. That's how you reinitiate the Dynamesh. And it is thinking, and I hope it's subtracted. Sometimes, even if you use group as Dynamesh sub, it combines the model together. It does not subtract. But here it's subtracted perfectly. And now, if I bring back the stand, they match again perfectly. But let's just hide the stand for now. And what I need to do is I need to create this additional object, append. I've been recording for 23 minutes already. I don't know, the time is how the time works. This time it is cube, because these type of objects, and let me just move it downwards slightly, the connecting objects, they are usually square. It's easier just to, it holds better, it doesn't rotate in place. I think that's the reason. It doesn't have to be large, just something like that would be enough, right? Maybe slightly more elongated, and it goes inside like so, right? So now you probably understand what I was talking about. It works like this. It will hold this objects relative to one another perfectly. But now I'll hide the cylinder again, the stand, and I will need to again merge those guys together. Merge down. Again, I will make another copy It's under 100 megabytes, the whole file, the whole project right now, so it's not a problem. I have 2 or 3 hard drives on this computer. Several terabytes of space. Okay, I will move it slightly. And again, merge down. Select the hand, merge down. Be mindful where the objects are in relation to one another, because merge down is not an undoable operation. So let me just, and look at this. I made a mistake, classical mistake. I merged wrong subtools. Just as long as they are separated into different different groups, it's just because I'm talking all the time. Group split. Take a look at this. It's separated the stand into lots and lots of different objects because it creates different groups. Let me just move it upwards. During the shell operation. So merge down, I can fix this. I will do merge down several times. Merge down. Yeah, now it is all together, and the final thing, because it was separated, just to be on the safe side, I will do a weld points operation. Where is it? It's in geometry somewhere, right? Modify topology, weld points, like so, and all the points which share the same space, they will weld, and it will be a closed object again. Maybe it is even good that I made this mistake to demonstrate how you can fix it. Merge down. Merge down. Now it is correct. No, it is not correct. Damn it. It is not correct because take a look what happened here. Do you see? Because each time you do an operation like subtraction, it creates a new polygroup where the two surfaces meet. So it's easy to fix here. Just group split, and well, it's really difficult to explain it in words what happened here, because I did group split. It splitted everything, and it created this hole in the hand. I'll do group split again, just to temporarily remove this object here. And that is the nature. If this would be a rehearsed video, you wouldn't see any of this. Close hole, like so. And it created, it closed the hole. And that I need that. Merge down again. Like here. Look what also happened. It just completely messed things up. It oh god. I'll try to fix it. It separated the nails. Okay. Also, so that is why I'm not going to bother with any of this. Why? Because I have copies. That's where it comes in handy, right? I didn't have to save it, but I did. So I will just that fix everything. That's why you have to be very careful and always save versions. And if I wouldn't be talking right now, I wouldn't be making all these mistakes, trust me. I'm very, very attentive when I'm working. So now I am merging this thing together. It's 30 minutes right now, Jesus. I'm merging it all together. And first of all, I will have to apply Dynamesh across the entire subtool to make sure that this block is merged, and as you can see it is right now, just group visible. I'll do group visible so it doesn't blow up my model again. And now look what we have now. I will need, first of all, I will need to make a hole in the stand in the shape of this block, right? And if I am a little smarter, I'll undo this merging operation. See, lots of things you have to take into account even when you are preparing something as simple as this for 3D printing. Group split again. No, auto group first. Auto group. I want to make sure, yeah, I'm not going to lose the nails again. All right. Group split. I'll explain why I'm splitting it again in a moment. Like so. And I need a copy of this. I forgot about it. I need to duplicate this block. Now I merge down again to combine the original block with a hand, and I do Dynamesh again, but now I have a copy of this block separately. And I need that because I need to subtract it from the stand to create a hole in the stand. Right? There is a reason why we created a shell first in the stand. So it will have two holes, one at the bottom and one on the top. We could have limited ourselves with just one hole at the top, but just easier to get the material out of it when it is printed. Not necessarily, but yeah. Again, bear with me. Hiding the hand, unhiding the stand, merging down this block with the stand. I'll group it as Dynamesh sub, like so, and now I'm Dynameshing it at 336 resolution, and it merged together. You see, even though it was Dynamesh sub, it didn't work. Sometimes it just doesn't work, and in order to fix it, you do group split. Where is group split? Here it is. I have all the buttons that I use frequently right here at the top of the application. And again, I didn't... You see, it happened again. It merged down. It blew up the stand because there were too many merged down polygroups here. So I combined it back together. I'm doing the weld points operation here again, and I've just realized the mic is a little too far away and I'm talking in the opposite direction of the microphone. Sorry about that. Just group visible so it doesn't happen again. And let's just combine it with a block again. Merge down. And let's hope, Dynamesh sub, let's hope that it will work. The Dynamesh will do the subtraction operation this time. And it does. You have to have a high enough resolution if you want to preserve these thin walls. And we do want. So now there's a perfect stand for our hand, which also has this block merged with it. And as you can see, it will go right into this pathway. But it is not everything yet, because I now have to create a shell for the hand itself. I need to convert it into a shell, and this will be the final thing I will do here in ZBrush. After that, we will be moving to a different application where we will be preparing the model for actual printing. Okay, first of all, I'm making another copy. It's version 5 now. And I will even duplicate this hand here, because I will create several holes here with insert cylinder operation. So here's one cylinder, right? And I will move it manually like this inside the model, and I will now copy it using the move operation with Control, press down. I'm just making 2 holes. They're not very large, but they should be sufficient. And what if I create another one? Just I will make another copy of the cylinder with a Control pressed, but this hole will be in the block itself, like this. Because otherwise we will have a cavity inside this where the material will accumulate, and I need to get all the material out of this thing once it is printed. So it looks like this. They're all their own subtools, and I will group them as Dynamesh sub, like this, right? And I will apply the Dynamesh operation again, maybe with a slightly higher thickness than the shell. And yeah, Dynamesh is on right now, and I need to have it on. Let's have the thickness of 10. Right? Maybe 9, something like that. Let's take a look at what will happen. I'm saving another copy, because each time I'm doing an important operation, I'm making a copy. And I'm hungry. I haven't eaten anything today yet. It's about 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Anyway, and for some reason Dynamesh is no longer on. Interesting. What if I... Dynamesh sub. Okay, Dynamesh is on again, and let's go for it. We'll give it a little time. The model is more complex. The more complex the model, longer it takes. Again, the higher the resolution, etc., etc. But I'll try to fill this pause without the pausing the actual video with me talking. Oh, take a look at this. It went on pretty quickly. But it went pretty quickly because I forgot. I didn't press the I just did the Dynamesh instead of pressing the shell operation. Shell. Let's do it again. So now it is creating the shell, and it will take a little longer, just because it has to analyze the very complex topology inside of this dynamic human hand, one of the most complicated objects in the universe is a human hand. And certainly in anatomy. Anyway, it is still thinking. And once the operation is complete, we will have to take a look inside the model just to see that everything is okay. But for the most part, this operation is very, very reliable. And by the way, it is even good that we did the simple Dynamesh operation before the shell operation, because we made sure that the cylinders that are supposed to be subtracted from the model, they actually subtract, because sometimes, as you saw just a few minutes ago, it doesn't work. So the video is now over 40 minutes long. I thought it would be quicker, but I tend to underestimate things like that all the time somehow. So it is still thinking. So maybe it is not that quick in the newer versions of ZBrush. It all depends on the resolution and complexity of the model, because the cylinder was very, very simple. And this takes a while. So, yeah. I'm going to have eggs for breakfast. I don't know what else to tell you. I just don't want to pause the video, because that involves just finding this moment in the edit and cutting this out later on, and I don't want to do. You can just fast forward through this easily. You are on YouTube after all. But this thing is still thinking. Yeah. Tea with lemon. Okay. I'm starting to think if it is going to go on for longer, I'll have to edit this thing out somehow. But again, it gives you perspective on how long this operation can take sometimes. And if the character would be more complex, because it's just the hand, but if it was a whole character, like a sculpture, it would go on forever, really. Because what it does, it analyzes the inside of the models in such a way that it can create a completely uniform shell in terms of thickness, and that is very important, because that way we can be sure that there are no... Oh, it is done. There are no parts of the model which are too thin to the extent that it breaks. And you know what? If it will be printed as a 13 centimeter model, I have to undo it and do it again. Sorry. I will cut out the next one. 9 is not enough. I think it's more like 20 here that we should have. Yeah, something like that. So let's do the shell again, and I will cut that part out. God damn it! It took like, wow, 6 or 7 minutes. Took forever. It takes longer if the shell is thicker, as it turns out. Anyway, here it is. The shell is created. The model is now empty inside, and we can easily see that if we just use our standard like isolation tool. Here it is. As you can see, there is a shell and the cavity inside, which goes inside every single finger. That way we have saved a tremendous amount of material, like, I don't know, maybe 70% of it or something like that. And that is great, because now we can actually which one was, yeah, I'll delete this one. Now we can actually print it, and the next step would be to export it as an STL. And when you do something like that, it's very important to make sure that you export it in a correct scale, so it prints, the size of the print is correct. And that is a topic in itself, and we are going to talk about it in the next video.